What's up, guys? Evan Jarvis here for Grips Poker Training. In this video, you are going to learn the power of position and the 6 reasons why it's so valuable, how to determine position, and the 2 different types. If you're excited to learn, click the subscribe button and join the team, and let's get stacking.
Let's begin by looking at the 3 elements that compose the triple threat. The first is position. Experienced players will be familiar with this and its importance. Beginners might not even be familiar with the word. I'll just say that position is to poker what location is to real estate. Far and away the most important element of the game. Position is the most important yet frequently overlooked concept in poker. I'm sure you'll have many questions which I will be happy to field in the comments section of the video, but I've taken the liberty of preparing some questions of my own, which I'm guessing were probably going to show up on your list. So why is position so valuable? The first benefit is that you get to act last on each street, which means you will have more information than your opponents who have to act first or second. Since poker is a game of imperfect information, and your job is to make the best decisions given the information you have, you will obviously be more able to make better decisions when you have more information. Score 1 point for position. Another benefit to this information is that it's free. When you have position, you don't need to spend money on each street to get your information. You don't need to make bets to get reactions. Your opponents are forced to act before you, and you get to interpret the reasons for their actions. The natural flow of the action in the game gets you your information for free. The information will also be pretty accurate most of the time too, so long as you interpret it properly. The player in position has such a big advantage on those out of position that they often have to play more cautiously. Players are much less likely to get tricky when they're out of position, especially when many players are in the pot, so you can put a good amount of weight into the information you collect by being in position. Moving away from simply information gathering, there are still more benefits to position. And these are the benefits that force your opponents to play more cautiously. The first is that the action flows through you on every street. You get to act last, so you can usually decide if the stakes are fine and you'd like to move on to the next street, be it the flop, turn, or river, or if the stakes should be raised and your opponents will have to pay for more cards. Since you usually close the action on each street, you can decide whether the pot will be small or large following the same concept. When we are in position, we can make sure that the maximum number of bets possible goes in on each street. When we are out of position, we don't have this same luxury. We are at the mercy of the player who is in position. Finally, being in position allows you to take off free cards if your opponents check to you for fear of getting raised and being forced to play a big pot. You always have the option to check back and take a free card rather than upping the stakes. It's a lot easier to take in these concepts that I will elaborate on more throughout the education process. If you don't understand them all yet, that's okay. Just know that position is good. It's very good. So, how do you determine your position? Your position is defined as your location relative to the button. In online poker, the button is typically a circle with a D on it. You should be able to locate it on the table. It's just above that $1 chip near the top right corner. In live poker, the dealer button is typically a white button with the word dealer written on it. Go figure. The button moves around the table every hand in a clockwise fashion so that everyone gets position an equal share of the time. In holdem and Omaha, your position is also a factor of your location relative to the blinds. I was once told that a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I'm going to slow down on the talking and let these graphics here do the explaining. The three players to the left of the blinds are in early position. The three players to their left are in middle position. The player on the button and the player to the right of the button are in late position. And the players in the blinds are out of position. It is commonly preached that you should play tight when you are out of position, so early position, and loose when you are in late position. There are a couple of reasons for this. The first is that the fewer players left to act behind you, the less likely you are to run into a real hand, and therefore you are more likely to win the pot. But building on this concept, if every player behind you folds except for the blinds, then suddenly you become in position for the rest of the hand, regardless of where you open from. Remember, it's whoever still has cards who is closer to the button that is in position. So even if you raise from early position and everyone, save the blinds, folds, you have effectively, quote unquote, bought the button. You might as well have the button sitting right in front of you because you are the player who is now in position. And you will be in position for the rest of the hand. So raising in a later position just increases your odds of buying the button and having position throughout the hand. The player on the button, if they choose to play the pot, will obviously always have position on all the other players. Now, the graphic here is for a 10-handed table, common to the live poker setting. Most online tables are 9-handed or 6-handed. Whenever a seat is removed from play, take it away from early position. So in a 6-handed table, early position doesn't really exist. You have 2 seats in middle position, 2 seats in late position, and 2 seats that are out of position. For this reason, the terminology of early position and middle position and late position isn't so much important as the concept of position. Once you make it to the flop, whoever is closer to the button has position, and you want to focus on being in position rather than out of position. Next question. What are the different types of position? The first is absolute position, which is what we've been discussing for the past 2 slides. Your position relative to the button determines how good your position is, if you are in position or out of position. He who is in position gets to see what his opponents do before he has to act. The next type of position is relative position, which is your position relative to the preflop raiser or aggressor. When someone takes an aggressive action before the flop, they usually follow it up with an aggressive action before the flop. I hope you're thinking triple threat. So being the next player to act after them means you will have to react to them first. If, however, 2 players are between you and the preflop raiser, now they have to react first to the aggressive player, and you get more information before you make your decision. This is the beauty of relative position. Even when you don't have absolute position, you can still find yourself acting last on post-flop streets, which is almost as good as having absolute position. To pick up relative position, don't be the first caller of a raise. Make sure there are other callers sandwiched between you and the preflop raiser. This is why I will encourage being very selective when you are the first caller of a raise, but less selective when you are the third or fourth caller. Relative position, just like absolute position, allows you to get extra information at no extra cost. Whoever has bad relative position will often have to reveal their hand strength because they don't want to be attempting fancy plays when playing out of position. The worse your relative position is, the harder it will be to disguise your hand. Due to this, you might as well only have strong hands when you know you are going to have bad relative position for the duration of a hand. All right, that wraps up our introduction to the awesomeness of position. Let's move on to aggression.
This presentation was brought to you by Grips Poker Training, where players become champions with our free poker training program. To collect your free poker training package, visit grips.com/free and take your tournament game to the next level. We also offer a 30-day cash game transformation program to help you fix your broken poker habits for good and turn you into a winning cash game player for life. To learn more about these offers, click on the links in the video description and we will help you get stacking. This has been Evan Jarvis for Grips.com. Take what you learned, go out there, and get stacking.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it educational and entertaining. If you want to join Team Grips, click on that subscribe button and tap that bell to be notified every time a new video goes live. For behind the scenes updates and motivational quotes from my poker journey, follow me on Instagram. And when you're ready to take one step closer to becoming poker's next champion, click on me in 3, 2, 1, and let's get stacking.